Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arena World Championship here, lower bracket elimination series. And next up, we have Getchur Boy Dog playing against the Move. It's Peekaboo, the birthday boy, competing on that rogue, most likely against a team that they have beaten in the past, but we're expecting to put up quite a fight here. If Getchur Boy Dog could win, it would be the biggest upset. I mean, it would basically dash any hopes the Move have of competing with Method Orange, competing with M2KC. We are ready to hop straight into game here, and it looks like Getchur Boy Dog actually have a counter pick for the Rogue Priest Shaman. They're locking in their Windwalker Death Knight. It's Grayson on the Death Knight here. If they were able to win this, it would be absolutely huge. 90% of you, a whopping 90%, have voted for the Move in this series. We'll have to see, because this very much is their Summer Finals qualification. They need to win this to even have a chance of playing against either the boys or Method Orange later today.
And I mean, this is not an easy composition for them to go into. If Grayson can play Death Knight at a pretty high level, Baby Cakes is a very experienced Windwalker Monk. Flop, obviously a phenomenal Restoration Druid. Getchur Boy Dog could be taking down the Move. We'll have to see what the Move can do. We know them for finding surprise swaps, surprise win conditions. They're going to have to get something done in this game.
Getchur Boy Dog play a lot of Mage Druid compositions on the ladder, so if I was the Move going into the blind pick, I'm expecting some type of Mage Druid, not a Death Knight Windwalker. Getchur Boy Dog get the surprise factor in game number 1, and assuming that Grayson can play up to par, they should have the composition advantage. This is awful for the Move. If they lose the blind pick, they won't get the swing match advantage. They won't be able to have the map selection and the counter pick for game number 5 should this series swing back and forth. They cannot afford to lose this, but they're fighting at a disadvantage.
Yeah, there's the Touch of Karma. Fortifying Brew been traded out. Flop with no Trinket. This is actually a little bit scary here for Baby Cakes, but he needs to get in there. He needs to keep the damage rolling. Kidney Shot committed by Peekaboo. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that Kidney Shot. Baby Cakes is going to be completely fine, and now he's going to be, you know, feeling pretty safe, making an offensive push here on WizK. At least he got the bleeds up. Flop moving forward, gets the full bash over onto Absurge. Peekaboo denies a Cyclone with a Vanish Cheap Shot. Very nicely done. Grip on Absurge. Triple leg sweep comes in. Baby Cakes and Grayson getting a lot of damage rolling, but WizK, he's low on health, but he still has so many defensive cooldowns he can rotate through.
Move playing well defensively. Good management in terms of cooldowns. Mana fairly even between the teams. Perhaps Baby Cakes the most far behind in the match. Likely needing to be careful with the Smoke Bomb available from Peekaboo. WizK fading the Fists of Fury, definitely a good trade on that powerful attack. Certainly the hardest hitting, one of the hardest hitting spells is the Windwalker outside of the Touch of Death. Grayson getting swapped to a bit, although going to be not too much consequence, healing himself back up with that Death Strike. Baby Cakes getting stunned up. Flop looking to deny the damage there with Iron Bark. Mana evening out, but starting to burn down on both sides. Only 2 minutes in. Big push on WizK with crowd control and Absturge, netting the Gladiator Safeguard as well as Dispersion. 2 cooldowns for 1 crowd control. Not too great of an exchange for the Move early on.
Yeah, WizK is going to be taking quite a bit of damage. If we look at mana, Absurge is already hovering around 50%, maybe a little bit more. 2.5 minutes into the game. Baby Cakes and Grayson, if they can stay on target, they're going to be putting out a lot of damage, and Absurge has to spend a lot of mana to heal through that damage. Flop, at some point, might have to try to escape and go for a drink. His mana is not doing great, and we do know the Restoration Druid, he's going to be burning through mana a lot quicker than the Restoration Shaman. Absurge actually tried to sneak away and potentially go for a drink there. Doesn't want to wait too long, though, fall behind, but WizK's keeping himself nice and healthy with his Vampiric Embrace. All the damage he's dealing heals him up for a little bit, and that's what allowed Absurge a little bit of freedom to try to go for a drink, but it's just so difficult to escape, get out of combat when you're playing against Unholy Death Knight. I feel like it's very unlikely we ever see Absurge have that opportunity.
WizK gonna fade as Gladiator's Maledict was activated onto him. Flop looks like he's trying to drink. Who's gonna stop Flop? No one right now. Absturge is trying to get there, but does he know where he is? I don't think he does. Flop is gonna return to the fight with full mana. We have seen the Move, though, sometimes opt to just ignore drinks and play for the deep dampening game. Whoa. Crushed right now. Great pressure from Getchur Boy Dog. That's going to net them a Void Shift, only 3.5 minutes in. Peekaboo trying to carry the team here and get their team back on track. Stunning up Baby Cakes in a Smoke Bomb, but not even finding a Touch of Karma, and that's going to be devastating if they can't push through for it. Now finally getting it thanks to WizK's silence.
Yeah, he was able to dispel off the Gladiator Safeguard also. Baby Cake's not going to be able to really rely on that with how much WizK can dispel. WizK has already traded out the Void Shift, Greater Fade as well. If they can get the Dispersion, it's going to be a massive victory here for Getchur Boy Dog. Baby Cakes and Grayson, they're still looking to make that offensive push. Look at Mana, Upsurge hovering around 25%. Flop with that drink is just way ahead. But the move, I think they can hold on to limited amounts of mana for quite some time. We'll have to see. Getchur Boydog, they have to play a very consistent game. There is, of course, opportunities for the move. Baby Cakes, not too many defensives left. If the overextends and Peekaboo and WizK can get the damage they want out, you could definitely take him down in a surprise kill.
Upsurge is now almost completely out of mana, 30 seconds away from dampening in crowd control. It's not looking good. I think that Jelly Beans is going to have to be taken off the bench. That Rogue Mage Paladin is what they've been relying on to beat the Windwalker Death Knight compositions. Getchur Boydog are looking like a formidable Windwalker Death Knight. I'm not sure if the move are going to be able to pull off this victory. Flop jumping in, stunning Upsurge right at the end of his cast, wasting as much of Upsurge's time as possible, maximizing his healing reduction as well. WizK going to activate the Vampiric Embrace once again, trying to recover alongside the Earthen Wall Totem of Upsurge, but still just getting beaten up by Getchur Boydog. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc for him. They're shredding right through it. They're cutting through WizK like butter.
Yeah, Peekaboo with the Vendetta. Baby Cakes could be in some trouble. Mana once again flop. He's about even with Upsurge, just a little bit ahead, but if the move can hold on, if they can keep up this pressure, Flop's going to have to try to sit down for a drink, and he is. He might be able to recover some mana here. Upsurge needs to shut that down as soon as he can. What was Flop able to get done? He's just sitting in stealth. If he comes back at full mana, I think this is going to be a disaster for the move. What could they possibly do? They need to try to take Baby Cakes down. Upsurge is almost completely tapped. We're at 5% dampening. WizK with no defensive cooldowns left. Getchur Boydog is looking prime in game number 1.
Yeah, Getchur Boydog have a solid strategy here. Grayson's looking great on the Death Knight, and this was an awesome blind pick by them. They know that all the other teams in the competition expect them to play Mage Druid, so they play the antithesis of it to try and counter the counter pick, and that's a great move by Getchur Boydog, and I think they're going to be able to take game number 1 quite quickly. This is the fastest I think the move have been taken down in a game in some time. WizK hovering on 10%, blowing through most of his defensive lineup. Upsurge continues to be crowd controlled. Touch of Death is about to explode. Triple leg sweep, and this should be a KO for WizK. Huge hits coming in, and Getchur Boydog smashed the move.
Absolutely incredible. Grayson coming in on that unholy Death Knight, able to slay the move in game 1. WizK falls, the counter pick successful, and honestly, this is a very smart blind pick and well executed by Getchur Boydog.
Yeah, I mean, Getchur Boydog, they have been playing Rogue Mage Druid, Windwalker Mage Druid. No one can really expect them to just go in and play DK Windwalker Druid, and they had a good strategy. They went after WizK and they executed well. Flop on the rest of Druid, just kept going for drinks, kept keeping his distance, and just kept his team aggressive, and they were able to go through all of the cooldowns for the move, and then in the end, of course, as well, land some Paralyze and Cyclones and take the game, and that's that's what happens when you failed the blind pick like that, and that is why the move have kind of been playing a lot of Frost Mage. Of course, if they play the Frost Mage Paladin Rogue into, you know, things like Rogue Mage Druid, they're going to be disadvantaged too. So the move not having the greatest time here. Flop going in for the bash into the Cyclone here, and WizK, of course, doesn't have any cooldowns left. Peekaboo with a defensive blind, but unfortunately it is on diminishing return from that double fear that WizK did. A little bit of a mistake there, a rare occasion from the move, and then here, of course, the Touch of Death. You don't have anything to trade for it. WizK trying to get, you know, a couple of heals out, but that CC chain with the bash, Cyclone, Paralyze, just too strong, and Getchur Boydog, they get the first game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also, not only is it the first game, it means that whenever they go into a counter pick, they now have an answer for the Rogue Shadow Druid, Rogue Shadow Shaman, should I say. Last week, when these two teams met, I think the move won 3-0. They just beat them running the Mage Windwalker. Potentially, I think there was a Mage Rogue game in there as well, but ultimately, the Shadow Priest Rogue was just too good. Their Shadow Priest Rogue was too good. Now, Getchur Boydog have worked on a complete counter, and I mean, now going into the second game, it's the blind pick essentially for Getchur Boydog. Would you lock in the Mage composition, or do you think you go with this DK Windwalker and test Jelly Beans on that Mage?
I think you go with the DK Windwalker. If you're Getchur Boydog, I mean, if you go Druid Mage, you know you're going to go against the Rogue Shadow Priest Druid, and it's not going to be a good time because the move are so good at it against these Shadow Priest, against these Mage Druid X compositions. I mean, they almost took down Cloud9, so are you betting that your essentially alt Rogue of Baby Cakes is going to be as good as, you know, Snuts? I don't think so. So I think you definitely go DK Windwalker.
It's crazy what that Wednesday broadcast meant. We did the broadcast on twitch.tv/GCDTV, guys, where basically we watched through the open brackets, and one of the series that we saw all 5 games was the Move playing against Cloud9. It was so close. Game 5, I believe they got someone to about 2 or 3% health. It really was the closest series, and that was the difference between them going against No Name, which we would expect them to beat, and getting a top 3 finish, and now fighting their way all the way through the lower bracket. Now 1 game down, and just what would it mean if the Move lost here, Sid? Because they would only get 20 points. Method Orange already sitting in the upper bracket, guaranteed 40 for the weekend. This would be absolutely disastrous, surely.
I mean, it just increases the gap. It breaks the tie, certainly. But you can't afford to be losing to Getchur boy. The fact that they're losing to Getchur boy dog Windwalker DK, even if they manage to win this series, Method Orange have been playing that for so long that that's a pretty big deal. It means that the Move have to rely on Jelly Beans a lot more. And he's been saying that he's preparing fire, he's getting better at his mage. Now this is the test. This is the time that the Move need Jelly Beans the most on his mage, not the Hunter that we know him for. Hunter composition's not working right now in the meta, but if he can make his mage work, then I think the Move can qualify. Then that's the only thing that's going to make them qualify, is if Jelly Beans' mage is good enough. And if it's not, then I think Method Orange make it to Summer Finals.
Yeah, it really is that close. I mean, Mem2KC, they looked incredible earlier in the day. I don't think any of us are regretting our kind of predictions that they're going to be one of the 4 teams through the
This is
summer.
what I wanted to see.
And this is something interesting from the Move. So we've seen them playing the Paladin version of this composition. Now they bring in the Druid.
Well, Absurge put a lot of work into his Restoration Druid. There was a time before 8.2 came out where he basically benched his Restoration Shaman. He was playing his Druid exclusively, and it was really nice for them. I mean, they were playing the Shadowfeast Rogue Restoration Druid. Absurge finally looked like he was in tip-top shape. I think this just makes sense. I mean, Jelly Beans, he's been practicing the Frost Mage exclusively. Absurge has the practice on the Restoration Druid. And if I'm being honest, in this matchup, the Move, all they have to do is survive. They don't have to do anything fancy, just live as long as they can, try to reset mana. This is how we see the Rogue Mage Druid versus the Windwalker Death Knight play out. When Cloud9 went up against the boys, it looked hopeless for the boys. They brought in Thugbear. It was a complete blowout. And if the Move can just copy, paste that strategy, where they can just sit back, Jelly Beans just survives, Peekaboo does damage, Absurge holds on to his mana as long as possible, I feel like the Move have set themselves up for a victory here.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, the strategy that Cloud9 adopted is probably one of the easiest strategies too. It's not going aggressive, trying to get all the crowd control. They need to just be really smart here.
Exactly. Don't just... I don't want to say do nothing, but you just play a really defensive game. Don't go for crowd control. Live, do damage, win.
Yeah,
Swapsy strat.
Deep damp.
Swapsy strategy, play for dampening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll have to
Damage
see if they've done it. Honestly, that's the thing though with the Move. They're a very aggressive team. They like to get aggressive. They really need to be smart here. They really need to be smart, because if we see them pushing in and they get punished for it, they lose out on mana, then that's going to be a big problem. They're going to lose this series.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're going to have to look out for. If Jelly Beans is using his Shimmers offensively, he's using his Novas offensively to try to get Shatters off, that's where the Move are going to fall behind. Jelly Beans needs to try to use his Ice Nova, his Pet Nova, all of that to try to keep his distance from that Windwalker and try to avoid getting a full Fist of Fury essentially channeled onto him, and that way he's going to be able to help Absurge not spend too much mana, and then in dampening they're going to be able to find the win condition. And I like that Jelly Beans is also playing the Freezing Rain, which means that he doesn't have Comet Storm. It means he presses his Orb, he gets 2 free Blizzard casts, essentially gets a buff that allows his next Blizzard for I think the 12 seconds to be free of cast time, and just going to be looking to do that to reset the cooldown of Orb, and then eventually in dampening those Frozen Orbs are really going to start digging. You can see Jelly Beans right now going for a Blizzard with that Frozen Orb immediately.
All right, let's see if Jelly Beans has leveled up his mage enough to the caliber that the Move need him at, and they need him the most. This Mage Rogue Druid is the only way I think the Move will be able to qualify to the Summer Finals. Their Rogue Shadowpriest Shaman, it's good for counter-picking, but when they meet these melee cleaves, the Death Knight compositions, they almost certainly need Jelly Beans in the arena to find victory. But has he polished his skills on the Mage enough to take down the competition?
Yeah, I mean, that's really going to be the question. Anti-Magic Zone trades out by Grayson, I guess for the Vendetta. They're really respecting the Vendetta cooldown coming in from Peekaboo. He's going to be the playmaker in this game. Peekaboo at this point, he's played with a lot of good mages, he's played with a lot of good druids, so he's going to have to try to instruct Absurge, instruct Jellybeans on exactly how they're actually going to find victory in this game. There's good pressure on Babykicks, there's good pressure on Grayson. Flop's struggling at this moment. Babykicks taking quite a bit of burst damage. He is playing the Ride the Wind to empower his Flying Serpent Kick. That little cloud you see on the ground is going to allow Grayson and Babykicks the ability to get out of snares and basically not get snared while they're in it. So it's going to be important Jellybeans decides to get away from that as soon as possible. He wants to get off that Ride the Wind cloud, try to get snares reapplied to Grayson and Babykicks, and really limit the damage he's taking.
Grayson targeted here. All the move have to do is survive, make it deeper into dampening, then go for attacks on the Death Knight. If they can maintain their mana and stay alive, then they should be advantaged and favored. But let's just assume and run through this game and say the move win game 2. What composition do Getchur Boydog counterpick into the Rogue Mage Druid? Do they play Rogue Mage Druid themselves? Or do they play the Windwalker Mage? Or do they have to play the Windwalker Death Knight on a smaller map?
I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. I feel like maybe they'll go for a Mage Druid mirror and they feel confident playing into Jellybeans, playing into Absurge with Flop and Grayson, you know, being Mage main and a Druid main. But I think without the Assassination Rogue, it's going to be difficult. Maybe Peekaboo really can carry the series on that Rogue.
Well, let's see if Peekaboo can do it here. The move face elimination. They're already down 1 point in series, and they really can't afford to go out this early on with only 2 cups remaining in the summer season. They have not secured their spot yet to the summer finals, let alone even BlizzCon. So this could be the entire year for the move if they have a bad performance. Flop interrupted, falling behind. Pressure is solid from the move so far. Flop's mana is draining infinitely faster. The pressure has been so high from the move. And man, I mean, if their Rogue Mage Druid can look solid, I'm almost wondering if they can mirror Cloud9. That would be entertaining to see later on in the tournament if that is the case.
I highly doubt that. I feel like
so?
I feel like for the move, the Rogue Mage Druid is going to be a counter pick for these Cleaves. That's what they need an answer for. Going into a mirror match against Cloud9, I think would be an absolute disaster. But I could be wrong. Maybe they could win. Flop actually managed to sneak away for a drink, so that mana lead we talked about, that is dissipated. Now Flop, he's got the mana lead. Things not looking too bad for Getchur Boydog at this moment. The move, they need to make sure they're shutting down these drinks. And if I can critique the move at anything, is they do a really bad job tracking healers. They're just constantly letting Flop drink, and this is something I've seen from them in the past. They need to smarten up, because if they're not getting that mana lead in this matchup, they could easily lose.
Jellybeans bashed by Flop, taking a huge hit here. Absurge just trying to stabilize with Iron Bark, but even still struggling, costing a lot of mana. Although Ashamane's Fall was a smart selection and map from the move, it should be much easier for Absurge to drink and regenerate mana as a result, as I believe he is currently trying to do. Grayson with some bad pet management here, his Ghoul attacking Jellybeans rather than chasing Absurge to stop drinks. This could be okay if they manage to force an ice block with it, but not finding it. Absurge going to activate Thorns. It's going to be a lot of redirected damage back at Babykicks and Grayson. I love that they combined Thorns with the Frozen Orb. That's a huge burst of damage onto 2 targets as a result. Peekaboo setting up for a kill here with the Shadow Step kick. Grayson denies the kill, placing down the anti-magic zone. It is going to also answer the Icy Vein, so more than a fair trade from Grayson. Good awareness, good trade from Getchur Boydog, and they continue to pressure Jellybeans.
Yeah, Jellybeans under fire. He's got the Temporal Shield. He's got an Ice Block. What is he going to do? He's in trouble. Absurge throws over the Iron Bark, trying to keep him stable, trying to keep him healthy. He should be able to survive. He's got 4 minutes left on that Cold Snap. Babycake's in a little bit of trouble. He's got the touch of Karma if he needs it. Is he going to trade it out? He's getting really low. He's caught into a stun. Babykakes doesn't want to be throwing. Gladiator's Maledict flies in from Absurge, trying to soak up some of that healing Flop has available. Babykakes is still low. Absurge is struggling. Flop really struggling to keep Babykakes alive. The Kleptomania Spellsteal doing work here for Jellybeans. The move have completely recovered, and now it's going to be Babykakes on the back foot running away.
All right, let's see if he can keep running away. Caught in the smoke bomb, but Flop is right beside him, so unlikely to be too much pressure. Peekaboo is overextending a bit with no Gladiator's Medallion. He's got to be careful if he gets stunned around the pillar. Flop and Babykakes could burst him down. Absurge is trying to drink while his team is crowd controlled. And it looks like he's going to come back to the fight with full mana, which is exactly what he needs to do. Just keep resetting, try to maintain as many cooldowns as possible, moving into dampening. Big hit here onto Peekaboo. We see Getchur Boydog switching targets. Absurge is falling behind, activating the Iron Bark, but on the wrong target. Iron Bark on Jellybeans, not Peekaboo. So Peekaboo took a much larger amount of damage than he should have in that situation and is still behind as a result. Babykakes, though, in trouble, needing to Transcendence away, and sometimes attacking is the best defense. Peekaboo could have been vulnerable, but he just out-damages Babycakes and Grayson and forces Babycakes to run away. If they're running away, they can't kill you, so the move using offense as defense. Absurge lobbing in some extra damage to those Solar Wraths towards Grayson, but with those Death Strikes, he is stabilizing. Not entirely, though. Potentially an Icebound Fortitude, potentially the end of the game. Gladiator Safeguard gets spell stolen off by Jellybeans. Flop is still counterspelled. Icebound Fortitude may not be enough here at 8% dampening, just the tiniest bit more damage. Beautiful Cyclone at low health. If they can switch crowd control to Flop, it may be the end of the game, but no one's in position. It doesn't look like they want to overextend. Instead, just continuing to hammer damage.
Yep, Grayson in a kidney shot. Flop tries to respond. He's trying to play catch-up right now with that Iron Bark and does manage to do so. It looks like Grayson is going to be able to stabilize at 10% dampening. Jellybeans bounces his health to full with the Temporal Shield. Still just running, still just hiding. And the move, they're implementing the right strategy. Do damage, don't die. Grayson's getting low. Flop really can't keep him alive. And he does fall. I mean, that was, they won that game really early on. I'm surprised. Well done to the move. And the fact that they have this Rogue Mage Druid as a counter pick to these cleaves is looking really good for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see. If you can't beat them, join them. The move have picked up the Mage. They've been struggling with it all season long. You know, Cloud9 playing that Rogue Mage into them, playing the Warlock Mage. So difficult for the move. Now Jellybeans has gone to boot camp. He's playing the Rogue Mage Druid on the move, and that's great to see. However, that wasn't the real test. The real test will be this next game if we see another mage coming in as a pick from Getchur Boy Dog.
And that's the thing. Now you have to think, if it goes to a Rogue Mage Druid mirror, how confident are we in this? Because, you know, Absturge, he looked good on the Resto Druid, and Jellybeans, he wasn't super tested here. He was forced into using one ice block, but, you know, I think Peekaboo really is doing a good job here, leading the team because he has so much experience playing that Rogue Mage Druid and that Rogue Mage Priest, and, you know, I'm excited to see what would happen in a mirror because I think the move, if you look pound for pound, they're going to be behind. I mean, Grayson, very experienced on that mage, and also here, he definitely could have dropped that anti-magic zone about, well, when he was Cyclone, when he came out of the Cyclone, he could have dropped it. Why doesn't he actually use the anti-magic zone here, Grayson? I'm not sure. Is he actually just going to go down without using it completely? Okay, he dropped it on 1% there as he went down. So a little bit poor mismanagement of the cooldowns there. And that's also the thing, right? When you're playing those alts, Grayson, you know, a phenomenal mage, but on the DK it's a little bit different. And that's the same thing. If it goes to a Rogue Mage Druid mirror now, or a Windwalker Mage versus a Rogue Mage Druid, then what?
Yeah, like, suddenly that ult is on the other hand, right?
Jellybeans is going to be the one who potentially can make mistakes like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fault someone on their ult. Like Grayson, we commend him for bringing the Death Knight as the counter pick in game 1 here. Clearly a bit of an exposed weakness in game 2. Normally the Death Knights don't die that early in the game, but at the end of the day, now he might get to play his main into Jellybeans on the mage. It's 1-1. We really don't know who's going to win this one right now. The move first, Getchur Boy Dog. Getchur Boy Dog with the upset on the Grand Arena. Now they have the advantage in the series. Jellybeans is put to the ultimate test. He plays against Grayson in the Frost Mage versus Frost Mage. He has to prove himself. He has to be the difference maker here because the move cannot afford to lose if they want to go through to the Summer Finals.
All right, we've got the Mage Druid Mirror Showdown, and this is the advantage that Getchur Boy Dog get for winning the blind pick. But they're not running with the Rogue, they're running with the Windwalker, and compositionally, would you say that they're at a disadvantage, or is it a little bit more even?
Rogue Mage Druid should win this matchup, but we'll see. I mean, Flop and Grayson, they have a lot of experience together, a lot of practice together. Jellybeans and Absurge, we'll have to see. The one thing the move has going for them is Peekaboo. Peekaboo, the boy wonder. What is he going to be able to get done on that Assassination Rogue? He's very experienced at training down mages, shutting them down, and if Jellybeans and Absurge can back him up properly, I feel like the move could win this match and turn that swing match in their favor.
All right, let's see if they can pull it off here. Baby Cakes popping some damage onto Jellybeans. Absurge currently crowd controlled by Flop. This could easily be an ice block if Jellybeans isn't careful. Gladiator Safeguard procs, absorbing some hits, but he does trade out the ice block ultimately. The Gladiator Maledict absorbing a lot of healing, and the move already behind.
Yeah, that was not a great exchange. Jellybeans, he had his Temporal Shield there. He might have been able to survive if he had traded that out. Things are looking a little bit scary here for the move. Good pressure so far by Getchur Boy Dog. Grayson still hasn't had to use his first ice block. Jellybeans is being trained down. Good control coming in from Getchur Boy Dog. And at this point, they're asserting their Mage Druid dominance.
Yeah, definitely asserting dominance here in game number 3. Getchur Boy Dog looking to move to match point. Although, if they do win this game, what is their best composition for the next match? I mean, if they blind lock the Windwalker Death Knight, almost certainly they're going to be going into the Rogue Mage Druid. So maybe they should just blind lock the Windwalker Mage, try and do their best into the Shadow Priest Rogue. Do you think they'd have a better odds with that comp?
Probably. I mean, with the way the move played the last game, it looked really difficult for Getchur Boy Dog. It's obvious the move has practiced that strategy. It's obviously, they know what they're doing. And honestly, I don't really think there's much Getchur Boy Dog can do. If they're playing Windwalker Death Knight into the Frost Mage, Assassination Rogue, Restoration Druid, I think that's a complete nightmare situation. Like I said, we saw Cloud9 play against the boys. The boys, I would say, are probably one of the best Windwalker, or if not the best, Windwalker Death Knight right now in North America. And they basically were made to look like fools in that matchup. So I don't know if that is a winning matchup. It seems like with the way the Frost Mage, Restoration Druid, Rogues play, it's just so difficult to actually get victory. Right now, there's good pressure from the move. They might be able to net an Ice Block from Grayson. He's got the Temporal Shield. Peekaboo lands the Shadow Step kick. Flop with his Iron Bark, still not able to heal through the damage. Peekaboo sets up a blind, full blind play. Now on to Flop. He trinkets out. Grayson's still a little bit low. Gladiator Safeguard procs. He blinks immediately out of that Smoke Bomb from Peekaboo, and they actually still managed to get the Ice Block. Nice Cyclone coming in from Upsurge. Full Polymorph snuck in, and all of a sudden, things are looking good for the move.
Yeah, the move in a solid position here with Flop still crowd controlled. Now he's out. He's looking to stabilize through the Comet Storm hit. Baby Cake's going to drop Ring of Peace, preventing Peekaboo from connecting. So instead, Upsurge going to Cyclone Grayson and prevent any sort of significant recovery. Mana, surprisingly even, only 3 minutes in here. Ice Block available in another minute and 30 for Jellybeans. How do you feel about this from Jellybeans, not using the Cold Snap immediately, playing very similarly to Alec, and I know you were critical of that.
I don't think it's necessarily the best choice. I mean, we'll see. Sometimes it can pay off. It certainly is a gamble, though. I mean, if this point in the game, Jellybeans has to trade out his Cold Snap as well as another Ice Block, then he puts himself way behind on that third Ice Block. So he needs to hold on for another minute. He needs to make sure he's using that Temporal Shield at appropriate times. There's been a little bit questionable uses of Temporal Shield so far from Jellybean. Still hasn't used it. He's getting low. Upsurge and Crowd Control. This is the perfect moment to use it. I don't know why he's waiting. He still hasn't traded out the Temporal Shield. And he Cold Snap Ice Block. So not using the Temporal Shield, you know, waiting so long to use his Cold Snap. He's put himself so far behind on that third Ice Block. And these are the kind of mistakes seeing from Jellybeans that could really cost them the match.
I think we're going to all the way to a Game 5 between these two teams with the compositions they have to answer each other. What's most standing out to me for Getchur Boy Dog is they're kind of like a mini Method Orange. They have the Windwalker Mage Druid and they have the Windwalker DK Druid, which are two of the main compositions that Method Orange run. And it could similarly play out the same way if Method Orange lose to the boys and face the move in the next round. But the move, I mean, they're going to have to overcome a disadvantaged swing match in game number 5. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. They're losing the Mage Mirror with Rogue Mage Druid, the best comp in the game right now. If they can't beat the Windwalker Mage Druid variant of it, that is telling. I certainly don't think that they'll be utilizing this composition to face Cloud9 in the mirror at any point, but luckily they can use a Shadow Priest Rogue. But that just means that the move rely entirely on the blind pick. They're going to have to mind game their opponents, and I don't think they have any surprise compositions that they could really use in a blind pick situation. They're perhaps too predictable.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The move aren't out of it yet. Jellybean certainly could hold on, but need better defensive plays. They might be able to get that second Ice Block from Grayson. Things are looking good. Grayson into a second Ice Block. So the move, there's still hope. And we'll see. Jellybeans' Ice Block's coming out under 3 minutes. Grayson as well. He's got about 3 minutes left on that Cold Snap. So things aren't horrible here for the move. You look at Mana, Upsurge actually has a slight lead, and I could easily see the move winning this matchup. They just need to clean up their play, find the crowd control they need, and keep this assault, keep Grayson locked down in crowd control, getting bursted down.
All right, if they can pull it off, it would be so critical to get the swing match advantage. Jellybeans gets Cyclone on his Temporal Shield, denying the heal, denying the recovery. He activates Ice Barrier, but Upsurge is Cycloned. Flop is lobbing in some Star Surge damage. Gladiator's Maledict's incoming as well. Upsurge with no Iron Bark, but the move secure crowd control onto the entire team with a double Ring of Frost from Jellybeans. Looking to reverse pressure on Grayson. Grayson sees that coming, activates Temporal Shield, soaks it all up for his team, and then heals back to full. Although Flop is still crowd controlled, Baby Cake's activating the Touch of Death, trying to push forward for a kill himself. Absurge gets counterspelled. That could be game-winning here from Grayson. Touch of Death about to explode. Iron Bark at the last possible second. And Jellybeans holds on barely. Now Cyclones to deny the Iron Bark. Beautiful Cyclones from Flop. Mana still even, 10% of the dampening. Peekaboo trying to reverse pressure, dropping the Smoke Bomb, but Jellybeans can't really back him up. He doesn't have Frozen Orb. Doesn't have too much damage. It is unfortunate. Peekaboo trying to solo Grayson, but not able to. Now Cyclone. Absurge into Paralysis. Grayson actually still on the back foot. Consistent damage from Peekaboo certainly setting in. Flop Trinket's blind into a cheap shot. Set up for a Polymorph if Jellybeans can find it. Grayson stops it for a moment. Temporal Shield active, but flops in a half Cyclone. It's going to be a bit of a race here to try and kill Grayson before the Temporal Shield goes off, but they can't win the race, and Grayson heals back to full.
Yeah, Grayson and Jellybeans, their ice blocks coming out at about the same time, but Grayson's still in trouble. Flop gets locked out. Nicely done by Jellybeans, looking for an Evan Bolt. Gets interrupted. Now can spam out the Polymorphs. Polymorph on Baby Cakes, trying to slow down that damage, and that was the Touch of Karma coming in from Baby Cakes as well. So maybe an exposed target, but I still feel like for the move, their best strategy is just going after Grayson. Cheap shot on Flop into a full Ring of Frost. Good setup here by the move as they push forward. Grayson running and hiding for his life. Lands a Nova on Peekaboo. Peekaboo gets out, and he's continuing the pressure. He's continuing the damage. Cheap shot landed over on the Baby Cakes to slow down some pressure. Nicely done by Peekaboo. Jellybeans is in a little bit of trouble. Temporal Shield rolling should top him off, but no, a lot of it gets soaked up. Jellybeans in a lot of trouble with the Polymorph on Absurge. They need to stop the re-CC. Peekaboo lands a kitty shot onto Grayson. Flop with a beautiful low Cyclone on Jellybeans on that Gladiator safeguard. Really well done. Absurge definitely has to play catch up, but you can see Jellybeans, he's got the ice block back. Both mages should be fine.
Yep, mages are beginning to stabilize deep into dampening though. Mana slightly in favor of Absurge. Can Peekaboo keep up the pressure? Work through that cold snap of Grayson faster than Jellybeans has to use his ice block. I'm not certain here with Absurge and Polymorph. Baby Cakes can't get on target though. He's Frost Nova'd up. Grayson being counter pressured away now. Absurge on top of Grayson, but trying to stop Flop from drinking.
Touch of
up
Death
with the Ursul's Vortex. Baby Cakes making a big push. Will Jellybeans have to block on top of the Temporal? Yes, he will. Big overlap there. Fortunately though, Cold Snap comes up in about 22 seconds and they still have a mana lead. If they can force Cold Snap from Grayson in the next 38 seconds, they'll be on about an even playing field. But if they can't, they're going to be 2 blocks behind likely soon. They got a lot of work.
Well, looks like Grayson's going to be in trouble. Is he going to have to use the Cold Snap? Garrote Silence comes in. They need crowd control to get the Cyclone. Grayson trades out the Cold Snap. This is the perfect situation for the move. And now they're lined up on ice blocks once again. Jellybeans, you have to trade out that Cold Snap. I mean, I just feel like it's a mistake to wait 4 minutes, but we'll see. What is he going to do? We're at 25% dampening. Both healers running out of mana. Both teams running out of time. There's been good control. This has actually been such a back-and-forth game, Sid.
It has been a back-and-forth game. Now at 25% dampening. Absurge crowd controlled. Jellybean stunned. This could be devastating for the move. Absurge likely has to activate Iron Bark, and he does do so. Jellybean should begin to stabilize now, looking to counterattack Grayson. Temporal Shield active for him. Needs to hold out a little bit longer for it to go off and heal him back. Not getting too much of a heal, unfortunately, from it. Vendetta is now rolling. There's no Iron Bark. This is easily going to be an ice block just based off damage at 28% dampening. Peekaboo wants to make sure that it is. He drops the Smoke Bomb. Big Comet Storm. This has to be a block, and it's going to be the last one for Grayson this game.
Oh, the move. They're doing such a great job. This is basically a miracle for them. I really didn't think they'd be able to go toe-to-toe. Nice sap coming in from Peekaboo, the boy wonder. Grayson is in a lot of trouble right now. He's got no ice blocks. Is there any follow-up crowd control? Flop, he trades out the Iron Bark, but he's still so far behind. The move have all the pressure, all the momentum. They're looking to reverse the swing match in their favor. And are they going to be able to do it? There's another interrupt over on the Flop. Grayson's getting low. He's got the temp shield. Can he hold on just a little bit longer? It does heal him up, but he's still in just so much trouble. The damage from the move is too high. Jellybean's getting a little bit low as well, but he's got the ice block he can fall back on. Flop trades out the last little bit of his mana and Innervate to keep Grayson alive, but after that, there's really nothing left. Jellybeans has to be careful. Touch of Death on Jellybeans. It gets Cyclone. I think that might have actually immune the damage. That was a big mistake from Flop.
He did get the Gladiator safeguard, though, so Jellybeans needs to be careful. He doesn't have that to rely on. He's trying to go for a big push. Comet Storm on the kidney shot. Peekaboo sets up for the poly, but Jellybeans gets intercepted by Baby Cakes. He can't get it. Now Grayson's going to stabilize. It's Jellybeans who falls behind. Mana so low, dampening so high. This game easily coming to its conclusion very shortly. Absurge is crowd controlled first. This could be the ice block from Jellybeans, likely the last for him in the match. Absurge is Cyclone. How is Jellybeans going to hold on? He polymorphs Baby Cakes. He interrupts Grayson, but Baby Cakes rolls over and connects. Big damage. Ice block forced, and it's still an even game. Peekaboo's trying to tilt it in his favor. 16 seconds until Iron Bark. Vendetta in 5. Peekaboo can easily be the MVP here in these next couple of seconds with overwhelming pressure, but Absurge getting caught in a polymorph. Devastating moment for Jellybeans. They were just seconds away from killing Grayson with Vendetta, and they're going to fall in game 3.
Absolutely, back and forth on both sides. Definitely not a perfect game from either team there, but Getchur Boy Dog get the victory. They're able to pull through with their Windwalker Mage Druid, able to prevail. But I mean, that matchup really felt like it could go either way. There's a very good chance that that could be a repeat in game 5.
Yeah, I mean, first we have to get to game 5.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what Getchur Boy Dog decides to lock in the next game, because you guys already talked about it a little bit, but the Windwalker Druid probably just going to lose to the Rogue Mage Druid, so maybe they lock it in and play against the RPS, and they can even close it out earlier than that. But the move, they have a tall order ahead of them, and it looked so good. Jellybeans, they were an ice block ahead at this point. Grayson dropped so low as well, and you know, all they needed to do was secure one crowd control over onto flop, but they weren't able to find it. Instead, Absurge getting cycloned out at the back of a paralyze right there, and that's going to force out Jellybean's ice block there. And unfortunately, like Van Ruki mentioned, his temporal shield timing was kind of off. He just needs to be kind of just using it a lot more, just preemptively use it. Sometimes you can use it and just go for aggressive plays, and here of course Absurge as well. Getting caught up in a polymorph like that is a big mistake, and that's as the diminishing returns fade from that paralyzed before, and Jellybeans is just gonna fall because of that. So unfortunate mistakes there on the side of the move, but if they can make it to game 5, I have a feeling we might see the same matchup again, and they could potentially win that.
Yeah,
this game wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. That's certainly one thing to take away. It looked like they should have won for a little while. Not a perfect game on either side. You know, flop with the Cyclone on the touch of death at one point. Like, that would have been an opportunity. So both these teams shaking a little bit here, and this is the true test for the move. We said it already. They should win this next game with the composition advantage, and then in game 5, they will have kind of that segue where they decide what they blind pick. They play into the advantage of Getchur Boy Dog, and they'll have to find something. I mean, I gotta say as well, like, it's not just Jellybeans on the Mage, although we talk about him. It's also Absurge on the Druid. Both of these guys are ulting right now, which, even though they've practiced it a fair bit, it's really something that they've been forced to do. Like, they would obviously rather just play the Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman in every game, and I feel like Absurge in that game didn't look super comfortable either. Like, when we watch, you know, the likes of Chaz or the likes of Cubsy, they're going to get these low cyclones all the time. He's running the Moonkin Affinity. There's no step kick to worry about. It's only that counter spell, so once that's down, he can clone those temporal shields, and we didn't really see any big plays like that. They played for the late game, and I mean, it almost worked out, but not quite enough in the end.
Again, Rogue Mage Druid, when you play in a Windwalker Death Knight, like I kind of talked about, you just passively win. I mean, if the game goes on long enough, you don't have to be proactive and push in for crowd control. Those are the type of matchups where I feel like the move can really implement Rogue Mage Druid, but they're going to need a lot more practice if they want to go toe-to-toe with teams. I mean,
Rogue Mage
Druid,
Druid,
with another really good Rogue Mage Druid. I feel like they are way far off of that at this point, but luckily for the move, they have other comp options. You can see Getchur Boy Dog, they're going to be locking in the Windwalker Death Knight, trying to bring it to a smaller... Actually, it's a...
Why did the move pick this map?
This is interesting.
Yeah, for a second I thought, Getchur Boy Dog, they go to the small map, they lock in Windwalker Death Knight, maybe not the best matchup for them, but then I realized the move picked this map, which...
Do you think they were concerned about Getchur Boy Dog locking in Mage Druid, and they were thinking about Shadow Priesting into that? That's the only thing I can imagine was going through their mind.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, because obviously it makes no sense here. Maybe they actually trying to force this matchup. Maybe this is what they wanted even on the smaller map. Because, I mean, honestly, if I'm thinking of playing Shadow Priest Rogue Druid, Shadow Priest Rogue Shaman or Druid, I'm not necessarily convinced that that matchup beats Mage Windwalker Druid. I think it's only because the move plays so well. So maybe they're less scared of this matchup and that's why they lock it in?
I mean, it definitely... It could be the case. They could also just be making a mistake, but I still feel like on this map, with these compositions, the move should win. They just need to play very passively, very defensively, just keep the damage rolling on Grayson and Baby Cakes, and eventually they kind of just passively win the matchup. It's going to be up to Getchur Boy Dog to make sure that they're making offensive pushes in this match, and trying to get damage rolling. We need to see big touch of deaths, and those big touch of deaths need to be netting ice blocks. And if they're not, then the move just is going to be slowly but surely winning the game.
So moreover, it's offense that we need to see from Getchur Boydog. Also, Grayson was a little bit of question mark in game 2. Sid, what do we want to see from him if he's to kind of play out? Is it just going more aggressive?
I think he's kind of got his anti-magic zone stuck in a script, or it's, I use this during Vendetta and Icy Veins, but when you're at 20% dampening, you sometimes have to use it outside of that window, which is what he went down in that situation. So he was thinking, this isn't the cooldowns that I normally trade with that deep into dampening, and then used it too late. So if he can sort of realign, well, sort of, I should take out of alignment his cooldowns from the Vendetta and the Icy Veins later in the game, then certainly he can extend the match, but they need to be able to end it before they really think about extending it. So perhaps they do more switches to the Druid, a little bit more offense from them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we have to see. Getchur Boydog have taken us all for a little bit of a loop here with this Windwalker Death Knight. It won them game 1. It's their pick here, though the move countering with Jelly Beans on the Frost Mage. Bear in mind, guys, this is a best-of-5 series. If Getchur Boydog win this game, the move will be out of the penultimate cup here in the summer season. The move need this victory. Even if they win this one, then they will still have the uphill task of winning game 5.
Yeah, the move charging in on Dalaran Sewers. Absturge getting knocked out immediately, a little bit late with exiting the kind of sewers pipe up there. There's a knockdown mechanic there if you aren't aware of that. If you stay too long, you get forced out or you get flushed out. And that's exactly what Getchur Boydog are trying to do right now, flushing out the move.
Yeah, I saw where you were going with that one. I was just waiting for it. That was beautiful. Jelly Beans taking a lot of damage in this moment of time. And as we say, this is kind of the odd situation for Rogue Mage, whereas in the past you'd look at this matchup, you'd be like, oh, the Rogue Mage is on a timer. They need to be the ones getting aggressive, getting the crowd control. No, it's actually the other way around now. The DK Windwalker are the team looking to set up with their touch of death, win the game early. Peekaboo countering, Smoke Bomb forces Baby Cakes away. This is what we like to see in the early game from Rogue Mage. Attack the Windwalker, force him defensive so he doesn't have uptime. Beautiful Sheep snagged onto the Trinket of Flop. That's going to force out the Touch of Karma, and that's really playing into the move's win conditions. Now the Monk's going to be scared.
Nice re-follow up there by Peekaboo as well. Going for the sap, going for the cheap shot. Absturge not going to be able to find a clone here without an Iron Bark at least going out from Flop. And he's going to go for the Cyclone. Beautiful. On the Iron Bark. Beautifully done. He needs to get another Cyclone here now. Let's see. Absturge mistimes it, unfortunately. Healing Stat is definitely kind of shaking his head right now because of that, but hey, if you can time the Recyclone into the Recyclone, you can actually push in and get the bash into the Cyclone onto Flop and perhaps secure the match already. That's what we see a lot of these experienced Rogue Mage Druids do. However, the move still, their win condition is in the late game, so Jellybeans finding that Polymorph is still going to net them a lot of pressure, which of course is going to help them get to that late game. You can see Jellybeans as well keeping his Blizzard up, doing a good job with that. Should have a Frozen Orb available right now, and basically Jellybean's rotation is get Blizzards out and get Frozen Orbs out on cooldown. Now he's taking a lot of damage here, has to blink out. The Gladiator Safeguard is going to proc Kleptomania onto Baby Cakes. There's the Frozen Orb, there's the Blizzard, and now he's looking to reverse that pressure. You can see that Frozen Orb cooldown just ticking down, 43 seconds, 42 seconds. Every single time the Blizzard does damage, it reduces the cooldown by 0.5 seconds per target hit. And with the DK having so many pets, the Windwalker images, you can reset it very quickly. Sometimes you can have 2 Frozen Orbs out at the same time because of that.
Yeah, and that's just one of the reasons why Frost Mage is so powerful in this matchup. You have the snares, you have the consistent orbs. Actually, we see the anti-magic zone traded out for the Vendetta. Very presumptuous. I guess he's just kind of playing to that script of trading cooldowns for cooldowns, though very little pressure was coming out of the move in the situation. Jellybeans, quite frankly, has been bullied. Peekaboo is just trying to get something going for his team. He just can't, though. Without Jellybeans getting some sort of damage, some sort of semblance of pressure, he's really struggling in this situation. Absturge has done a fantastic job with his mana, still only at about 60%. With the pressure he's been out healing, you'd think it would be a worse situation. I'm actually curious if he's running the Nourish talent. We see a lot of these Druid Mage dampeners kind of running Nourish as an efficient way of healing, getting the hots up as well as that instant heal. Not convinced that Absturge is playing that since we haven't seen him cast it too much, and that might be part of the reason why Jellybeans is falling so far behind. He's trying to kite these melee DPS tunneling him away from Flop so they can try get some pressure. Peekaboo a Smoke Bomb up in about 10 seconds. That could be an opening, especially with Baby Cakes trading out his Transcendence pretty early on here.
Yeah, and Jelly Beans, he just needs to make sure that he doesn't blink exactly like that. You don't want to blink just to get a Frostbolt cast off. I mean, Frostbolt doing like 4,000 damage or something is not really going to do too much. Instead, you want to be blinking like that when the Windwalker is using his mobility. And essentially, the only time you can blink like that is to secure a Blizzard cast, because Blizzard is, of course, going to be resetting your orb like I mentioned earlier on. And then you want to use your Pet Nova when Baby Cakes is using his rolls like he just did there. And you want to try to just keep distance between you and the Windwalker. There's the Tiger's Lust of Baby Cakes. Every time there's a kidney shot, you want to be running as well. And I gotta say, Absturge, he's putting himself in a situation where he just has to heal a lot more than necessary. Whenever you've done a kidney shot over onto Baby Cakes, you can just clone him up after that. Now we're gonna see a potential CC chain here initiated over onto Absturge. Flop's gonna go in with the Rake Stun. Not gonna be able to follow up the Cyclone though. A little bit scary there. DR Asphyxiate onto Absturge there. Not gonna be netting them too much of an advantage. Jellybeans is doing a good job here with Absturge, utilizing the map, kind of kiting at the bottom halves of it, and that's exactly what they need to do. But the mana is not looking good, and you can see right there Absturge getting a mana proc there from that Ever-Rising Tide. So he is running those mana per 5 essences, and they're doing a lot of work here, especially when he's on the back foot, as we're just about to set into dampening.
Yep, dampening has started to elapse here. Healing reduction for both sides to contend with. Baby Cake's taking a bit of damage, actually overlapping the diffuse magic with the anti-magic zone here. So two tools that do very similar effects overlap. Now we see Touch of Death though. Fortifying Brew comes out after, so this Touch of Death won't pack so much of a punch. Temporal Shield to answer anyways. Jellybeans, good defensive management. That was a huge potential push there for Getchur Boydog. I think Baby Cakes let the ball drop a little bit. He should have used his Fortifying Brew first to get the empowered effect on his Touch of Death there. But Jellybeans just kind of kiting away. I mean, as you say, Zico, he's doing a really good job of using the map, but equally, the map isn't the best tool. It's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He would have much rather had more space, Tolvaron Arena for this specific matchup. The move picking it, presumably because they were scared of some sort of Mage Druid dampening them on the larger map. Jellybeans has done a good job stabilizing, but the mana's not great. Absurge has been having to heal the entire game. Now he's looking for the reset. This could be a crucial moment in the match, but no, he decides to come back, heal. He's kind of indecisive right now. Now he's sitting down. He has a disease on him though, so Grayson's going to be able to immediately stand him up. One of the big advantages of the Death Knight.
Yeah, and honestly, trading out an Ice Block for Absturge getting a full mana bar isn't the worst situation to be in if you are the move. So that's exactly what they need to look for, because as it stands right now, if Absturge stays tapped on mana, then they're just going to lose the game outright because of the uptime of the Windwalker DK. Jellybean's going to have 2 Ice Blocks, but deeper into dampening, he's going to have to just use both of them back to back. However, we are starting to hit that point in the game where Jellybean's damage is starting to become really high, and at that point, they can force Baby Cakes and Grayson away from him. And that's going to also be able to secure a drink for Absturge. He just needs to have a little bit more mana, and they just need to keep the pressure. They're already going after Grayson now. I want to see some crowd controls over onto Baby Cakes. Another mana proc from the Ever-Rising Tide though. He's actually going to put Absturge in the lead. Another proc. Absturge, he is having great luck right now with those essences. They're doing a lot of work here, and Grayson taking a lot of damage here. This is the Vendetta of Peekaboo. A little bit slow with the trade here on the anti-magic zone. You can see another Frozen Orb comes out. The Blizzard is coming out. Baby Cakes not going to be able to do too much to back up Grayson here in this situation. And Absturge actually looking for a drink, and he came back with a lot of mana. This game is looking like the moves one to take.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the move, you're very happy to see that blue bar on Absturge. Huge drink swing there for the move. Looking like they should be able to tie this one up. Grayson dropping low. We're at that win condition now. Dampening stacks up. The Death Knight cannot heal himself. Has no defensive cooldowns. And guess what? Icy Veins for Jellybeans. He pushes the button. He's going for the kill. We see crowd control. I feel like Absturge has been getting better into this game at cycloning Baby Cakes. Now that they're on Grayson, they've identified they're getting comfortable. Pressure is dropping. It's dwindling for Getchur Boydog in Game 4. Dalaran Suarez looking to tie us up here. Go into Game 5 between these two teams. The move still at a disadvantage in the series. They need 2 wins here to overcome their adversary, Getchur Boydog, but they're looking better in this one. Grayson with higher health, but flops out of mana. There's no defensive cooldowns really remaining. Jellybeans just needs to keep kiting, keep doing damage with that Frozen Rain and the Orbs, and they should be able to secure this one.
Yeah, and as we say that, Absturge going for another Cyclone right there. Flop now, though, sitting down for a drink. However, like we've kind of mentioned, at this point in the game, the Rogue Mage Druid just has so much damage, and they are going to be able to secure it even if it comes down to Flop having a little bit more mana, just because Absterge just simply has to heal a lot less. Grayson right now on that DK, basically like a sitting duck, and we see a nice grip, asphyxiate combo, leg sweep combo, sorry, over onto Absterge. And they're swapping to him, forcing out his trinket. Now Jellybeans as well taking a lot of damage. Nice swaps here from Getchur Boy Dog, making Absterge have to expend even more mana, but right now tied up still with Flop, and Jellybeans still has both of his ice blocks remaining. Grayson looking to stay on target, gets kidney shot. Vendetta is immediately activated here by Peekaboo. I expect to see an anti-magic zone drop by Grayson, but he gets sucked out from that vortex. Nicely done by Absterge, gonna allow Peekaboo a couple of extra seconds of dealing damage right there. And now Jellybeans putting a frozen orb between him and Grayson, but an equally nice Ring of Peace there. This is gonna keep Jellybeans in place for a little bit longer. Grayson now trading out the anti-magic shell as well as the transfusion, but he gets kidney shot on it. Peekaboo really looking to put the team on his back here, as we might enter to about 30% dampening.
Yeah, 40% is the magical number according to Super T, so we're almost at that stage. Absterge sat down for a drink, Flop looked to deny. Now he's caught out, maybe Sheep can come in. Good interrupts from Getchur Boy Dog. Jellybeans, he's trying to get aggressive, he's trying to make the plays in this situation for his team. He's trying to be the carry on that ult mage of his. We see the orb coming in once again, Grayson running away. This is the worst case scenario for Grayson. He wants to have uptime on Jellybeans. The further and further the Rogue Mage get ahead, the harder it will be for him to catch up. Flop almost out of mana. The safeguard comes in, spell stolen by Jellybeans, looking for the kill. Grayson running, Vortex back into line of sight. Jellybeans just has such an advantage. Smoke bomb comes in. Surely this will be matched. You can even see this, the rafts coming in from Absterge, essentially wanding him at the end of that game. Beautiful stuff, and the move will be able to tie it up. We're going to game 5, but that game 5 is potentially going to be the hardest game the move have had to play in the summer season.
I mean, we're going to have to see what exactly happens. I mean, the move, what's their blind pick going to be in this next matchup? That's really what's most curious to me. That game was convincing for the move. This is a simple strategy like we saw in the game 2. With the Rogue Mage Druid, essentially what you're trying to do the entire game is just try to stall out the game, try to kite, try to keep up that consistent pressure, and we saw them execute on that once again. And I feel like the fact that the move have this composition and they can play it against a team like Getchur Boy Dog playing the Windwalker Death Knight could definitely be good, but I feel like they've found themselves in this situation where they essentially have to win the blind pick if they want to win a series against a lot of these teams.
It's better than just losing outright no matter the blind pick there.
Yeah, definitely. There's no question about it. In the final moments of the game, you can see Flop, he's already traded out the Iron Bark. People are, both Baby Cakes and Grayson going to be rotting down low, but it's going to be a similar story. The Death Knight just becomes such an exposed target later on. You can't afford to stay in the open for too long when you have an assassination rogue like Peekaboo on you. Jellybeans being able to get out that consistent damage, trades out the Ray of Frost, and eventually Grayson just falls, and Flop just doesn't have the throughput at that point of the game, and this is why it looks like such a difficult matchup. We saw it last week when the boys went head-to-head with Cloud9. It's really difficult for the Windwalker Death Knight, and I think they're in a really difficult situation at this point. Yeah, the North American way of playing against Windwalker Death Knight seems like something that I think a lot of teams will be able to emulate. Just run that Rogue Mage Druid, play until the deep dampening point, and then go for the kill on the Death Knight. The move are able to pull through here. Very important that Jellybeans is playing that mage to the level that he is, but now he has to play to the next level. He's going to have to win his team Game 5 in a counter pick from Getchur Boy Dog. Game 5 here between the move and Getchur Boy Dog. Last week we saw the move 3-0, but Getchur Boy Dog came up with the upset. They have the Death Knight now available, and now they have the advantage in Game 5. Grayson, once again, going to have the rematch against Jellybeans on the Frost Mage v Frost Mage matchup, and we're going to the Robodrome.
Robodrome will require mechanical mastery of the Mage Druid combination. Will the move be able to overcome the experience that Getchur Boy Dog have with this style of play? We would give the composition advantage to the move, but in terms of experience, certainly the Getchur Boy Dog are ahead. Yeah, I mean, Rogue Mage Druid going up against the Windwalker Mage Druid. I think the smaller map was a good pick here by Getchur Boy Dog, or actually, yeah, it was a good pick here by Getchur Boy Dog. I think against the move, with them locking in this composition, the Windwalker Frostmage Restoration Druid, especially if you feel like you're more experienced in getting crowd control, you want that smaller map to consistently get that damage rolling and allow Baby Cakes a lot of uptime in the match as well.
Right now, Jellybeans is not going to have as much space to sort of kite around the map and deny Babycakes' mobility. Babycakes can stay on target. It's going to be a lot of damage. The one thing that's difficult for the Windwalker Monk, though, is if you're playing against a Frost Mage who knows how to kite your images, they get caught in a Frost Nova, they get caught in a Pet Freeze or an Ice Nova, all of a sudden the Windwalker Monk loses out on so much damage potential. Touch of Death now rolling here for Babycakes. He's getting aggressive with the Fortifying Brew. There's no Temporal Shield. There is no Iron Bark. Jellybean's going to take a huge hit. Safeguard does proc, and that will be enough to keep Jellybeans alive.
I think it's important to highlight the intensity of this match. Potentially, Summer Finals on the line. And if Summer Finals are on the line, BlizzCon is also on the line for the move because they are far behind on points. They will not be able to qualify through that method. They have to make it to the Summer Finals, and they need a top 2 performance at the Summer Finals. They might not be able to even make it there if they lose this game. They already lost this matchup once to Getchur Boy Dog. They were seconds away from Peekaboo being able to power through and carry the game, but Jellybeans could not stay alive. Absturge got caught in too much crowd control, so Absturge is going to have to increase his awareness in game number 5. If he even makes one mistake, it could be the entire year on the line.
Yep, there is no room for mistakes whatsoever for the move. When we saw these teams go head-to-head with these compositions, it was a really close game. It literally came down to Absturge just accidentally tanking a Polymorph, and Absturge has actually switched over to Relentless, which is an interesting pick. I'm not sure if he was running it on Tiger's Peak. I don't think he was, but with that Relentless, it's going to make all Polymorphs going to be a little bit shorter duration. It's going to be more difficult for Grayson to get the re-Polymorphs if there is crowd control. However, that does mean if Getchur Boy Dog can find one good crowd control chain, Absturge can't get out of it. And that's an opportunity for Jellybeans to force to be into a situation where he uses his Ice Block. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. We'll have to see if it works out for the move.
I'm just trying to... Okay, no, there it is. All right, Jellybeans is his Water Elemental just positioned really far out of the fight. I saw it as the camera swung around. Grayson stunned up. Flop with no Gladiator's Medallion if the move can secure crowd control there. That's the one thing. The move, they've got the solid strategy against the Cleaves of just avoiding damage, extending the match, and then killing a stationary target. But do they have the coordination to get aggressive with the Mage Druid? Absturge is looking to set up some crowd control here. Hibernate into Cyclone, counterspelled by Grayson. Good denial. That's going to put Jellybeans behind. Flop looks to punish Absturge for his offense. Absturge shadow melts the Cyclone, then starts to retreat away. Flop looking for it again, finds it. This could be an Ice Block from Jellybeans. Absturge wanted to get aggressive, but got punished. Is he going to have some consequences for the punishment? Now into the stun. Beautiful crowd control. Flop now counterspelled by Jellybeans, opening up opportunity to take out Grayson.
Yeah, Grayson could be forced into his first Ice Block. He's getting low. Jellybeans with a better Temporal Shield. He has improved on that since the Tiger's Peak game, and I think it's going to be really important that Jellybeans uses that Temporal Shield at an opportune time, especially when there's crowd control on Absturge. He can deny kills that way, and he has been doing so in this game. Babycake's using Transcendence to get on top of Jellybeans. He's been using that Transcendence quite well. I think Jellybeans could do a little bit better of a job running away from it because it's essentially free mobility for Babycakes. I've seen it a couple times in the matchup so far. Definitely something to look out for. Grayson now getting bursted down. The full Cyclone over onto Flop. Grayson responds with Temporal Shield. Safeguard proc. Temporal Shield should proc as well. That might keep Grayson alive, but Peekaboo looking to make an offensive push with his Vanish. Garrote Silence on Flop. Garrote Silence on Grayson. Flop responds with the Iron Bark. Grayson manages to hold on, getting topped off. Good defensive Cyclone there by Absturge, slowing down Grayson on his Icy Veins.
All right, let's see if the move can pull it off here. I can just imagine the sweat dripping from their foreheads, almost facing elimination in the first round of the lower bracket to Getchur Boy Dog. They're going to be in fight or flight. We're just getting to dampening. Mana is looking good for Absturge. They at least have that going for them. Still, no Ice Blocks forced from either side, although Getchur Boy Dog could switch to Peekaboo. He used his Gladiator's Medallion. Now that he doesn't have that, he can't trinket a leg sweep to use evasion to prevent Touch of Death. There's no Iron Bark for 16 seconds, and Absturge is running Relentless, so if Absturge is crowd controlled, he won't be able to activate that. Getchur Boy Dog, I would love to see them set up a swap on Peekaboo. I feel like they could easily 100-0 him with the Touch of Death. Instead, committing the Touch of Death to Jellybeans, trying to get a kill or an Ice Block before the Iron Bark is available of Absturge, but it should line up. Touch of Death goes off. Big hit. Oh, big mistake by the move. Quite a panic attack there. 3 defensive cooldowns, the Safeguard, the Ice Block, and the Iron Bark in one push. High value for Getchur Boy Dog, and the pressure is on.
I feel like we've seen, last week we saw Jellybeans fall to the massive Touch of Deaths of Chun-Li. And I feel like Jelly Beans, he's having nightmare flashbacks because like you said, he had the Iron Bark, he had Safeguard, he had a lot of defense still available in that situation. Trading out the Ice Block is definitely a big mistake, but we'll have to see. Can Getchur really punish them on that? We'll have to see. Jelly Beans gets Cyclone onto Temporal Shield. Beautiful plays here by Flop. That's going to be denying a lot of incoming healing. Now pushing forward, trying to get crowd control. He gets counter crowd controlled. Absurge doing a good job landing that bash. Absurge getting locked out. Jelly Beans in some trouble, but somehow Jelly Beans actually got topped off in that situation.
All right, they're down 1 Ice Block. Mana still slightly in their favor. They need to push forward with this Vendetta and get a block. If they don't, they're going to be very far behind for the next 2 minutes when Peekaboo's next Vendetta is available, and they're not finding it. There isn't enough damage. Grayson is totally stabilized. It's not looking good for the move. Their entire year could potentially rest on this one match. They can't lose, but they're in a losing position. It's not looking good for the move. If there was ever a time that any move fans in chat want to give their energy, they need it here. They need it now. 7 minutes into game 5. Absturge gets a Cyclone. Good opportunity to get a block from Grayson, but there's not any damage. Peekaboo is held at bay. Grayson sneaks the Polymorph over onto Absturge. Big mistake there, potentially costing Jelly Beans an Ice Block. Not able to. Jelly Beans taking control of Baby Cakes and denying any sort of damage during that crowd control. Jelly Beans covering up for the mistakes of Absturge. Absturge now trying to get aggressive and go for Cyclones. He's going to have to push himself out of his comfort zone. They cannot rely on only defense with the Rogue Mage Druid in this matchup. But while they're going out of their comfort zone, there's opportunity to fail. Can they manage to overcome it? Big push here onto Grayson. Would be a massive blunder to not trade a block. They commit the smoke bomb. They tie up blocks. Flop gets sapped on his way into the smoke bomb. Peekaboo trying to carry the move to victory in game 5.
Yep, sap on Flop. It's going to be a resap coming in from Peekaboo into one more. Grayson could be in some trouble. Full blind on Flop. He trinkets out. Nice plays by Peekaboo. Shadow step over. Garrote onto Flop. Peekaboo styling right now in this match, but unfortunately Grayson's going to be just fine. He's got 1 Ice Block left. Flop did trade out his trinket in that exchange, which is a victory for the move. They might be able to still get more. I mean, this would be very surprising if they were able to force an Ice Block through Iron Bark. Grayson could just be in some trouble. Nice offensive push there by the move. Grayson still low. He's got the Temporal Shield, but he's getting bursted down. In the meantime, Jelly Bean's actually in a little bit of trouble as well. He's got Temporal Shield. That's going to top him off. Nicely done. A little bit of a mistimed clone there by Flop. He could have immuned all of that healing if he had got that off before Temporal Shield. Unfortunately, wasn't able to.
Flop has the mana advantage, even though Ice Blocks are even. Jelly Beans gets potentially the game-winning Polymorph. He sneaks it in on Flop. Mistakes on both sides. You can tell the pressure is getting to both teams here. Deep into game number 5. Absturge gets counterspelled. Danger time for Jelly Beans. Grayson gets stunned away, but he trinkets out. He knows that this is a good opportunity to get a block. If they can get Iron Bark and Ice Block, I'm not sure that the move can still pull off victory. Jelly Beans gets control of Baby Cakes. He's not panicking under the pressure, blinking back to safety, but Absturge is still crowd controlled. Jelly Beans and Grayson going at each other in melee range on those Frost Mages. Peekaboo trying to keep Grayson at bay. Baby Cakes locked down in a Frost Nova for a moment as both Restoration Druids escape the crowd control and take a moment to recover.
Jelly Bean still looking for damage. Flop is a little bit higher on mana than Absturge. There is a lead for Getchur Boy Dog. Both mages still have an Ice Block, but it's going to be Jelly Beans who has access to his 3rd Ice Block much quicker. Grayson's still low. Can they force it out? Peekaboo gets caught into a Nova, into a Polymorph. That gets dispelled. Absturge looking to push in. He wants crowd control over onto Flop. Is he going to be able to find it? Still good control on Peekaboo. Grayson deflecting the situation, but he's still not topped off. He's getting low. Trying to blink away. Jelly Beans lands a counterspell on the Ray of Frost. Grayson in a full kidney shot, getting bursted down. Flop responds with the Iron Bark. Peekaboo moves forward, gets the full blind. Flop trinkets out. Peekaboo repositioning, potentially even looking for the re-stealth. No, comes in for the Shadow Step kick onto Grayson. Fortunately now will not have that Shadow Step if Grayson decides to use Shimmer to get away. With the Cyclone on Absturge, Jelly Beans is very vulnerable. There's a follow-up Cyclone as well. Flop in a great position. Grayson goes for the Ring of Frost. Unfortunately, completely whiffs it. Absturge will be able to get out. There's a risky Ring of Frost, but I appreciate the fact that Grayson went for it. It would have been a game-winning play if he had landed it.
All right, let's see if Jelly Beans can hold on for 18 more seconds. He's going to have 2 more Ice Blocks. Mana is still even at this point. The moves still have a good opportunity. Smoke Bomb Vendetta. This is what we saw Peekaboo set up and get a block with earlier on. He may be able to get a block prior to it, then find the kill. The Move are setting themselves up in a prime position. Polymorph is locked down. Ironbark probably not going to be enough at 35% dampening. Grayson needs to measure the damage output and gauge whether or not he needs to block on top of it. They get a sap out of the crowd control. Peekaboo trying to carry. Grayson in a lot of trouble. They're shredding through that Gladiator safeguard, and they're going to net themselves the second ice block, although potentially not the final one if Grayson can hold on for 3 more minutes. But Flop is still locked down in crowd control. Absurge gets the third Cyclone. Ice block going to be ending. Still no Ironbark if Peekaboo can stay on target. He's got a smoke bomb. They could drop the stun and go for the kill here right now. Icy Veins popped by Grayson. He's trying to counter pressure. Absurge is locked down in crowd control. Good push and reversal from Getchur Boydog to race against his temporal shield. Can they get the block before it goes off? They can't. Jellybean's going to bounce back in the fight. Now the Mover in the driver's seat.
Jellybean's looking good. He's looking healthy. Grayson's in some trouble. He's got Icy Veins rolling an interrupt on Flop. Grayson could easily fall. We are 39% dampening. Temporal Shield is rolling with a bash over onto Flop. Can they take him down in time? It heals for nothing, and Grayson might go down. The Move might be able to do it, but he holds on.
There's no CS.
Flop, he managed to get the heals off. He got the Ironbark. Grayson's going to be able to survive. Smoke Bomb drops out. Flop with the Tranquility. Big heals, but at 42% dampening, I don't know if Grayson's ever going back to full HP, and he's got no ice blocks for another minute.
Flop trinkets the blind. Grayson has absolutely nothing left, but there's a pocket touch of death. Baby Cakes could go for the all-in one-shot. We saw Jellybeans explode to touch of death in the cup prior. He needs to be careful to measure that damage. They've got such a huge lead. They can't afford to throw. Jellybeans is going to block before the touch of death. Baby Cakes can carry the team, assuming that Grayson can stabilize. No. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to stabilize. Jellybeans is owning him, counterspelling him on Frost. Baby Cakes goes for the touch of death. Absurge is in a poly. This could be a KO. Jellybeans is on hypothermia and can't block. Grayson can die at the same moment. Both mages in trouble. Jellybeans falls first. Peekaboo has to kill Grayson in these next couple of seconds. He interrupts the heals, but he gets crowd controlled by the paralysis. Absurge needs to get crowd control. He stuns Flop. Peekaboo can't get in the fight. He gets dispelled. If he can stay on target, Flop's out of mana. No Ironbark. Cold Snap in 18. Can Peekaboo and Absurge pull off the 2 versus 3? Peekaboo and a Frost Nova. Grayson just needs to live for 10 more seconds. It's looking like he's going to be able to, and this could be BlizzCon off the table for the Move off of this defeat.
This is absolutely tragic for the Move. They lose to Getchur Boydog. 3-2 victory in favor of the ladder team that hasn't really had so much success. We're going to see it play out here, but honestly, the chances are incredibly slim. You always have to play it out in that situation. This is dire for the Move. Next cup, they're going to need a top 2, a top 3 at the very bare minimum. Since Method Orange, they're in the upper bracket. They're looking great. M2KC made it through to top 6. They're falling behind, and this is the worst case scenario for the Move.
Yeah, this is not the situation you want to be in right now if you're the Move. I mean, that's tough.
That's heartbreaking.
That's a little bit heartbreaking. They had 2 ice block lead. They had everything going into it. It was looking so good. Grayson felt so low on HP. Ultimately was able to recover, and then they were able to reverse that pressure, take down Jellybeans while he was on that hypothermia, and that's, like you mentioned, that's going to require a big performance in the final cup. And also, I feel like their faith right now rests in the fact that they need M2KC to do really well, because M2KC, I don't think they're going to be able to reach them, to catch up with them on points, realistically speaking. But they're still very close in points with Method Orange if they were to go down 0-2 in their matches. So right now, you know, the Move's fate is a little bit out of their hands. They need to just basically pray that Method Orange aren't on their A game today, because if they are, it looks like M2KC and Method Orange are just getting further and further ahead in this second to last cup here for the summer season. And here we can see it. Jellybeans with that Icy Veins active, they get so much pressure here over onto Grayson. They force out the trinket, but Absurge getting caught up in that full ring of frost there, and Jellybeans exiting the ice block. This is the situation here. He needs to try to crowd control Baby Cakes. He gets a polymorph, he goes for the re-polymorph, but he's too slow with it a little bit, because Baby Cakes manages to get on target, and that touch of death as well, going to be doing tons of damage and take him down. It's just those small things, you know, when you're playing an alt like that, that you just, you just got to play a little bit ahead of the situation, and the only way to be able to do that is by being exposed to it multiple times, by maining what you're playing essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a good game from them overall as well. Both times so close, but they're playing against a really good mage druid. They're playing against Flop and Grayson. We know them on the ladder to be such a strong team. Baby Capes actually came out with a nice play. He baited, I think, the Icebox with a touch of Karma, even though he wasn't taking damage. Maybe that kind of scared Jelly Beans. But either way, that's Getchur Boy Dog 3-2 victors over the move. And you can see their hot competition is Method Orange right now. M2KC are starting to get ahead as well. Both of those teams, if they were to make it, there would be no more room for the move.